Hi everyone, it's Diane from Diva's Creative Expressions. I am in the process of sewing some scrub caps. Many of you might not know I'm actually a dental hygienist, as well as I have another business in aesthetics, so I utilize scrub caps at work now. And in doing that, I have ended up making scrub caps for my entire office, and I have another order. So I wanted to just walk you through the process of how I have devised making them and simplifying it for myself because I'm making multiple at a time. I'm going to just cut this out as if I'm making one, but if I'm doing this on my own and I've been cutting out a whole bunch already, but if I was to do a whole bunch, I would end up folding this fabric in such a way that I'd cut out multiples at once. So what I've done, I'll link in the description below where I've gotten my instructions and patterns from a couple of different other YouTubers, and I've put those together and I've kind of formulated my own system. So my theory in life is always work smarter, not harder. So I have cut out the fabric pieces, pardon me, not the fabric pieces, the pattern pieces out of this foam board. And this is the pattern piece for half of the scrub cap. And what you're going to do is you're going to place this part here, right here, along the fold of the fabric. Okay, so I have washed and ironed my fabric. I have this piece folded lengthwise, and you can see this is where it ends on this side. I've already turned it over because for me it's easier to cut from this side. And this side is attached here, okay? So I've got that like that. You can get fancy and you can pin a pattern down and do all of that sort of thing. As I said, for me, I work smarter, not harder. And these are going to get washed multiple times, so they have to be sewn so that they're going to stay together. So I just simply use a pen and I draw right on the fabric. Again, I will write out some instructions, but what I've done here, let me see, I've made a notch here, and this is the corresponding top of the cap, which is just half of it would fold open to make the entire cap. And there's a little notch there. And I know when I am piecing these together that that this will start here and then I'll end up attaching them with the fabric, but I'll show you as I go along. Okay, so back to this. So when I'm cutting this out, I place this side on the fold of the fabric. Then I'm going to line this up to the top. I know that this is a straight edge because it's the bias edge. Make sure that that is lined up, and actually it was a little bit not lined up there. It's not the end of the world if it's not perfect. Somehow we always make it through here. Okay, again, I'm not a seamstress. My husband always laughs at me and tells me I'm like the jack of all trades and master of none. But I'll take that. I can make things pretty good in a lot of things, but I am no master of any of them. But I like to try it all. So I've lined this up with the top. I'm using my pen, holding my pattern piece down so the fabric doesn't move. I've cut my notch here, so I'm just going to make a little mark there, bring it across here. Again, holding down the pattern piece so the fabric doesn't move. And I'm sure if any of you are sewers, you might be just screaming, but again, this works for me. They've worked, they've all held together, and they're actually quite cute. So, all right. So I've got that piece cut out, and just for time's sake, I've already cut out the top piece here. Again, I cut it on the fold, and this is what it looks like. Now you can do matching pieces, or I like to make coordinated pieces that aren't exactly the same match. So here's another piece that I made that I thought would look really great with this gray and white fabric. So I have a whole bunch over here cut out, and I'll just kind of figure it out as I go. Okay, so you want a pair of sharp fabric scissors. These ones are inexpensive scissors. I also have more expensive scissors. It's up to you. Honestly, these ones cost quite a bit of money, and I have a lot of trouble with them. So these I think I got these at Michael's, and they were reasonably priced, and you can always use your coupon that's always out at Michael's, and that helps that situation. So I'm quite happy with these. So I've been sticking with these, especially cutting multiple layers. So I'm making sure that I'm getting through both layers. I'm starting at the end. And when you're cutting, fabric scissors have a flat bottom, so you can just keep it right along the bottom edge of your fabric. And I'm going to just cut all around this piece. And I'm just making sure that the fabric is flat together so that you don't cut one piece a different length than the other piece. Now, you might have noticed I cut right through that dart, but I'm going to go back and I'm going to make a little cut there so that we have that dart marked on both sides of the fabric. Because when I marked it initially, I'm just going to put this away here. When I marked it initially, it's only on one side. So if I leave it just like this, I'm not going to see the other side. So that's why I'm going to lay it out here. Make sure it's nice and straight. You're not going to cut in too far, just a little tiny triangle or snip. And that way you can see where, I don't know if you can see that. You can see where to line up, okay? I also do a little tiny snip right on the front corner, because I know then that is now the center. So you can see I've cut that out, and this is going to be the front piece. And maybe we'll do this for contrast so you can see the difference. But I've also done the same thing with this, which will now be the top of this scrub cap. Because I don't really want to have a seam right in the middle, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to iron these again just to get rid of that seam. And I didn't use my iron for a minute, so it just is heating up again. All right, so that's good enough. Just set that aside, and same thing here. I'm just pressing this to get rid of the fabric. Now, one thing I will say about this cotton versus this cotton, this is a lighter weight fabric than this one. I think it will still be okay. This is the top part, so it's not really doing much support other than sitting on your head. But this is the bottom piece, and this is the piece that is going to now become the straps, the ties at the back. And I'll show you how I figured out how to do this to make it easier. So it will be folded. This will come around and become the ties. You'll see it. It'll all come together soon. Again, I don't really measure too much. So the first time I did this, I spent a lot of time measuring and so on, but now I don't. I pretty much know there's a lot of forgiveness when you're doing these. So I'm going to just fold. Can you see that? I'm going to take the fabric right side down. I'm going to fold this bottom up so it meets the top here. Okay, and I'm going to just press that, and that will be the tie. Okay, so it's going to go like that. Now I'll bring that right along, but I'll start at this side so that it's I know that it's even here. You can do this so that you sew it, you turn it around, you do all of these things, but I have found that just doing it like this and serging it is more than fine. If you are someone who's wearing a scrub cap, someone like myself who gets a lot of you know, saliva and all that good stuff on them, you don't really care what it looks like as long as it's covering. Of course we want to look cute, but as long as it's covering your hair and protecting your hair, that's all that matters. So I started with the ends so that I know now that my seam, my hem across the top is going to be even. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to just press that so it's ready to go when I go ahead and I serge everything together, which I'll show you. Okay, I'm going to pause that. I'm going to go over to my sewing machine and I'll show you how I put this together now. Back in a minute.